everybody. Finley Shakespeare.
Hello.
Future Sound Systems, and ever present. And it's great. I remember seeing you at one of the Cardiff modular meets.
Yes.
Where it was just like literally one module, and now look at you.
Yeah, we're kind of getting towards having a full system now, really. We've just brought out a couple of oscillators, the Cyclical engine, which we premiered last year. We had a couple of bugs with it. Those are all fixed now. It's up for pre-order. It's a kind of basic oscillator, but it can do linear and exponential FM, AM on every wave shape modulation on the triangle, the sine and the pulse, and this inject input, which kind of gives you intermodulation between different oscillators if you want that. Makes really funky kind of sounds. If you're into future sound systems, this is probably the oscillator for you, unless you want to hold out for the Recombination Engine, which is a triple oscillator. It's like a...
Oh, this pesky modular stuff.
Yeah.
You can never see anything.
Always getting in the way. It's essentially a triple stack of 3 340s. We're using the proper Curtis chip for that. But it's not just a triple oscillator. We're implementing this kind of unique way of looking at waveform generation. So you have a scissor oscillator, a positive and a negative oscillator. And you treat the 3 oscillators as having, your scissor square wave. That sets the positive and the negative regions for the other 2 oscillators. So what that means is that you can set up your positive DNA on this oscillator to have, I don't know, maybe like 3 sine wave peaks. You can mix all your waveforms down here with VCAs. And then maybe 2 troughs of a triangle wave on the negative DNA.
Oh, interesting.
And it does funky things. You can do all this like locking down here. So you can set the CV to be shared across the 3 oscillators, so your wave shape stays the same across the spectrum. You can sync the waveform in so it stays locked to the transients of the square wave. And then you can do this pulse width skewing. So where you're changing the positive and the negative regions of the scissor oscillator, you're then also compressing and expanding the positive and the negative DNA oscillators. So you get these really crazy wave shapes.
Okay, that probably needs some kind of audio example.
Yeah.
That's hard to imagine.
Sadly, at the minute, we've only just got it doing the kind of triple oscillator stuff. But there is going to be stuff on our website really soon. It's really formanty. Kind of sounds a bit kind of wavetable-y at times, but it's completely analog. But you can also use it as just a standard triple oscillator thing. And then the next thing that we have is, should we get the man in, man himself?
Hey, Daniel.
Daniel. So we've been working with Daniel Miller from Mute Records. Hello.
Right.
That's okay.
we better get our story straight, right?
Magic edit, right?
We haven't rehearsed for this at all.
No, not at all.
I have completely different answers to your questions, but let's see how it goes.
So
Cool.
You've got also collaborative modules which are coming, right? This is a new thing, so.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a new thing. We got 2 modules which we're launching today. There's the Macro and the STUMM. And it's very exciting for me, being a bit of a modular person. I was lucky enough to meet Finley about, a couple of years ago. I don't know when it was.
Yeah, I think, we were put in touch by Chris, weren't we?
Yeah, we were put in touch by Chris Carter, because obviously Finley collaborated with him on the Gristalizer. And I'd had some ideas. I didn't have ideas for modules, but there were definitely modules that I was missing that I couldn't find.
You had needs.
Sorry?
You had needs that needed to be met.
I had needs that needed to be met. And then I suddenly, when we met, and I suddenly thought, well, that might be a good partnership, because I know that Chris really recommended working with Finley, and he said it was a great experience. So I thought, why not? And then last year at Superbooth, we started to sketch out some ideas.
Right, and this is so now we're here. So
yeah.
So what are your needs, Daniel, in modular form?
Well, they are. The Macro is an a voltage offset generator. That's the right technical term, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so it creates voltage change, and it has 6 outputs. Each output's got a tenuverter, and it's got 1 controlling dial.
Right.
So it's like a macro. So you can send 6 voltages out to whatever you want. Filters, VCAs, LFOs, whatever, and you can do big changes with 1 sweep of the dial. So you've got six things you can change at once, which is very handy, especially for live, but not only for live, because I think in the studio you want to do that too. And there's also a CV in, so you can control the level of the dial as well.
Right. Okay. I guess we should see it, because I mean we
Yeah,
can talk
sure.
about.
Okay.
And you've got one here, so the modules are actually in production now, or they're just.
So we've pretty much, these are kind of like almost pre-production models, but they're pretty much ready to go. So we've put these on pre-order for hopefully delivery by the 1st of August, hopefully quite a lot earlier really. We don't have to do that much stuff with them at all. But the STUMM is just muting everything in this patch. So you've got the 6 channels here. You've got toggle switches on the up, and then momentary on the down.
So yeah, very performance-based, really.
There are since we had the idea to do the STUMM module, there have been quite a few mute modules that have come out in the meantime, but I think this one's got something that's a bit different, because what you can do is you can group the mutes into 2 groups, A or B, which means, say, if you have like a kick drum, snare drum, hi-hat going into 3 of the inputs, you can group them, and then you can turn them all off at the same time.
It seems somehow so apt that you've got a mute module for
I know.
I'm sorry, someone had to say it. Right?
Someone had to say it. It's a coincidence, kind of. But so the grouping thing makes it really easy to do big changes at once, which I think is for live and for studio, I think it's really
And will it work
exciting.
with CVs as well, so you can mute CVs, or is it?
So it will eventually, yeah. We've left the circuit design really open. So behind every mute switch, there's a attack and release generator. So that's set by default very quickly, so you get clickless muting. But every mute also has a discrete VCA joined onto it. So we're essentially going to bring out expander modules eventually that will do like fade in and fade out times. They'll let you take the slope output of that as well. So as you mute and unmute things, you could maybe, I don't know, open a filter or, do weird pitch things.
I need one for my switch on this rig, because it clicks when I press it in, but it has to be passive. Can you make one of those?
But then, yeah, also like full control over the VCAs as well. So you'll be able to actually have the STUMM module as the heart of your VCA bank, but then also mute the VCAs too, and yeah.
And it's quite important to get something that sort of stands out a little bit as well. It's good you've gone white or pale rather than black. Much easier to film.
Yeah, I mean, I like modules that are pretty simple looking, and because I think I love a lot of the more weird looking modules as well. But I think for something like this, it's so important to be really clear about what you're doing, and that's just my personal preference, is to have like real clarity.
So that's 2 of them. Is there a 3rd module as well?
So we're working on a few other ideas, aren't we?
Yeah.
There's plenty in your sketchbook.
There's plenty in my sketchbook, yes. Better not talk about them until they come in, not because they're secret, but more just because I don't like to hex them by talking about them too soon.
Yeah. Also, people go, well, they mentioned it 9 years ago and it's still not out right yet.
Yeah.
When's it coming? How much is it?
Okay, I'm not going to ask that question then, am I right?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how these go. We're going to get back from Superbooth and pretty much straight into production. So, yeah, might take a while, but we'll get there.
So this year, presumably, is that the plan to get these out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These will be out in a few months.
Yeah.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we're hoping, we've said on our website by the 1st of August. We're hoping really sooner than that. I mean, Macro is ready to go. We need to make a couple of changes with STUMM, but it's actually removing things from the board rather than adding anything. So yeah, very, very easy to do.
And so are you going to be using these in your live sets then, Daniel?
I used them yesterday in my live set already.
Well, you can't have a finer endorsement than that,
Yeah.
can you?
Well, I mean that's why they're there. I only got them like a couple of days ago, so I probably didn't use them to their fullest extent, but they will be used very, very. I already thought, I need another Macro.
We need to get building.
Excellent. Well, look forward to seeing more of them. Have we covered all of them, or is there anything else we need to look at the moment?
I think that's pretty much everything. Just a couple of bits. We've got a power supply in the works. Jamie has been really hard at work on this thing and making a really nice beefy linear power supply for Eurorack. And we're also working on a standalone version of our pin matrix. So that's currently passive, but we hope to have different options available, active, and also a version for guitarists, so they can plug their guitar in. They've got a little gain section, and you'll have like impedance balancing for all your effects pedals as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Cheers, Nick.